The conversation continues now on why I vaccinate with Bryan Moody. He is a seventh grade math teacher with the East Lansing Public Schools. And Bryan, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for having me.
And Veronica, I'm going to have you start the conversation with Bryan Moody.
Bryan, thank you for joining. I know that you are a seventh grade teacher, math, is that right?
That's correct.
I
Yes.
have a seventh grader in math and really appreciate everything that you do. So thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining. I know that you have three kids too, and we were just talking, and I understand that your family is actually going through a COVID infection now. How's it
That is
been?
that's correct. It's been, I have three kids. The oldest one is 8, and she had a little bit of a fever one day. She had a headache, but then the next day it was like pretty much her symptoms were gone. She is vaccinated, and so that was, great. And then my middle child, my son, got it, and he also had. He just complained of a headache for one day, and that was it. So they were both home. Stella went back to school. My daughter went back to school yesterday. My son is still home, and now my 2-year-old has got COVID as well, and he is obviously not vaccinated, and he's the one having the worst time with it, especially late at night. He gets that cough, and he starts in these coughing fits, and then he starts crying as a result of the coughing, and it just spirals out of control, and nobody's getting a whole lot of sleep right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, that must be stressful. But you've been in this situation, being in school, being a teacher, for a while now, and I'm just wondering, how do you deal with the stress of the potential for this COVID infection on a regular basis?
It's every single day. I was talking with somebody the other day, and I said, each day I get 3 letters, um, each day, COVID letters. One from my middle child's school, one from my daughter's school because they're at separate schools, and then one from my own school. I get numerous contract tracing emails each day. Please send us the who sits within 0 to 3 feet of this student or 3 to 6 feet of this student, like throughout the day. So you got to pause your teaching, you got to go to your seating charts, then you got to email all the names to the office, and then they're while you're trying to teach, they're constantly calling and saying, "Send this student down." Um, have them bring their things, so you get an idea that means they probably are positive. So, or they're going to have to quarantine. So it's just been a crazy nightmare. These last couple of years have been very, very challenging.
Has the vaccination opportunity for kids 5 and over made it better in any way for you?
It does seem like it has been better. The students are usually gone for less time, so that's been good. But we don't really get all of the information. Everything is very protected, so we can just kind of go by. If somebody was called out and then they're back relatively soon, you assume that person must have been vaccinated, so that's good. Um, so yeah, it's been a challenge in so many different ways. I also moved schools this year as well, so I went from a small rural town, a rural school in Northwest Genesee County to East Lansing schools. So there's been a lot of changes for me. um, Going from fourth grade to teaching seventh grade math again has been a big challenge as well. So I've added extra challenges to this even more challenging year.
And your 8-year-old, knowing that she was vaccinated when she got sick, did that provide you with any additional level of comfort with this infection?
Yeah, I definitely, because I had a lot of anxiety over that, but knowing that she was at least vaccinated and would have some protection. Obviously, the first day when it hit and she had the fever and the sore throat and the headache, I got very concerned. But then within a day, like I said, her symptoms have went down right away and were gone. So it greatly minimized her symptoms. So once I saw that, the symptoms were being relieved and she was fine, then I felt a lot better. Same thing with my middle child. I haven't had that feeling yet with my 2-year-old because he's still going through it. So
The importance of being in school as an educator, and we've had some other parents join us on the show, and obviously they've expressed excitement about being able to have their kids in school and have their kids in sports. But from the inside, can you tell us the importance of that? Can you tell us the before and
Mhm.
after of having kids remote learning and then having kids back to the classroom? What has that been like?
yeah, that's been a huge challenge, especially with teaching math, because math, unlike some of the other subjects, it really builds on itself. So if they're missing for any part of the process, and they're trying to do remote learning, or they're trying to, watch a video or do some of our activities on Google Classroom or whatever, they still don't have somebody there explaining, going through all the, parts of the problem solving process with them. So it's a little bit more difficult. A lot of emails from parents about what can my student do, and we've got to, we're just trying to be as flexible as we can, but it's a real challenge. Keeping the kids there, letting the kids, trying to get them caught up, being graceful with them when they're gone, with assignments. Basically, there's like no real due dates anymore. We just, I have the assignments, and whenever you get them done, just let me know. If it's past the due date, send me an email. I'll be flexible. But just, yeah, it's been quite head spinning for these past 2 years.
Yeah, I know. And I know you have some questions for Bryan too.
Actually, the last question that you asked, Veronica, I think is key because Brian's living it. It's very interesting to hear Brian talk to us about what he's experiencing day in and day out because you hear a lot of people say, we've got to have kids back in school and teachers need to be back in school. But this process that you describe and how it's actually working is something to think about, Brian.
Mhm. Yeah, it just the number of times per day that you are interrupted, and you can't just get that flow going and get into the lesson and keep the kids' attention, and so many of them right now are using Chromebooks, so they've got Chromebooks in front of them, so there's just so many more distractions going on in the classroom. And I just want, with math, I'm just like, eyes and ears up here, stay with me here. Let's go through this problem. And we also like to, as math teachers, we like to do little small group activities, but I don't really feel comfortable doing a lot of small group activities during COVID. So it's impacted the lessons. So yeah, there's just been a never ending, just a lot of challenges that keep popping up as well.
Well, we thank you very much for sharing your experiences today with us. We really appreciate it. It was nice to meet you, and we hope everybody gets better very, very quickly.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate you having me on.
Why I Vaccinate will continue right after this.